Hello guys. So in the previous lecture we discussed regarding different kinds of gyri as well as sulci, right? So let us just have a quick recap and then we shall look at the real cadaveric image and discuss those things over here. So in the previous lecture we have discussed we have discussed something called as lateral sulcus or also called as Sylvian fissure, right? So this lateral sulcus or Sylvian fissure is having three important rami. So this rami which you can see here is called as the anterior or the horizontal rami, and this one is called as a anterior ascending rami, and this one is called as a posterior rami. Now what did I tell you? This posterior rami is having two walls. One wall which is facing upwards, this one is called as the upper wall, and this one is called as the lower wall. So what you need to do is that you have to stretch these two valves. When you stretch these two walls, not valves, okay, when you stretch this, the upper wall and the lower wall, what will happen inside, hiding inside, there is a structure which is buried here. This is called as insula. Where is insula present? Insula is present on the floor of your posterior ramus of the lateral sulcus. Okay. Now next important thing is that you know that we have got three important types of gyri, right? So this one we have called it as the superior temporal gyrus, this is called as a middle temporal gyrus, and this is the inferior temporal gyrus. Now this temporal gyrus which you are exactly looking here, this is the lateral surface of the superior temporal gyrus, and this structure which you can see here is the superior surface of the superior temporal gyrus. I have already shown you in the paper, right? So if you haven't watched the previous lecture, watch that previous lecture because that is very important. Next, there we have discussed that we have got transverse temporal gyrus. What are the three different types of transverse temporal gyrus? We have got anterior, we have got middle as well as a posterior. Out of that, which is very important is anterior. Why? Because it has got your auditory center in that. Okay. Next important thing is that within this insula, if I divide the insula into two portions with the help of this line which is running down all the way, this is called as sulcus centralis insulae, right? So this divides the insula into two halves. Now in one half you have got small structures over here. These are called as gyri, and the gyri are so small, you call it as brevis, gyri brevis. In the same way you have got structures which are long, this is called as gyrus longus. So one you have got is a gyrus brevis, another one you have got is a gyrus longus. Okay, right. So these are the things which we have discussed, right? Now let us look at these structures over here in the real image here. So in this first of all, let us concentrate on this image over here. Now in this image, if you carefully look, right? So in this image, can you see these small structures 1, 2 as well as 3? Let me zoom in. You see these structures? So these structures are small. You see, they are not even a size of your finger, right? They are very small. So these structures which are very small over here, right? These structures are called as short gyri. Okay. In the same way, you see this long one like this is called as long gyrus. Short gyrus is called as gyrus brevis. Long gyrus is called as gyrus longus. So who is dividing this short and long gyrus? I told you this red color line in the center called as sulcus centralis insulae. So let us see, where is this sulcus centralis insulae? You see this sulcus centralis insulae here. If I rub this out, right, you can see that this line here is sulcus centralis insulae, which is dividing what? These three short gyri from this long gyri. Okay, and after that you have got transverse temporal gyri. Here only you can see 1 and 2, isn't it? You see here only you can see 1 and 2, but actually there are 3. One is called anterior, one is called middle, another one is called as a posterior, right? Now let us look at this picture. Now in this picture also over here, you can very clearly see, right? You can very clearly see that you see a sulcus in the center, right? This is called as central sulcus. Central sulcus is divided into short gyri and long gyri. You see these gyri 1, 2, 3, 4, all these are short gyri, right? And this one, the fifth one which you can see is very long, so you call this as a long gyrus. Okay, so this is called as your long gyrus. And obviously here you have got the transverse temporal gyrus which you cannot see, visualize well in this picture. But overall you understood what is central sulcus, right? Sulcus centralis, and you can also figure out the short gyri over here. You can also figure out the long gyri over here. So these are the structures which we have discussed previously, right? Now, what are the important structures which we shall be discussing are, this is the superior lateral surface. What do you mean by superior lateral surface? Again, this is the brain, right? This is the brain. So this surface which you can see is the superior lateral surface. This surface which you can see is also the superior lateral surface. Now, when I am dividing the right hemisphere from the left hemisphere like this, inside whatever thing you can see, this is the medial surface. Now, we shall discuss what are the gyri and sulci that are located on the medial surface. Okay. So, let us draw the medial surface here. Right. So this is the medial surface. How am I going to tell you this is the medial surface? Because I have also to draw one more important structure that is present here like this. And this structure which I am drawing right now is called as your corpus callosum. Right. So this structure over here is called as your corpus callosum. What is corpus callosum? Corpus callosum is nothing but a band of fibers that are connecting the right cerebral hemisphere from the left cerebral hemisphere. Now, this is your right cerebral hemisphere. This is your left cerebral hemisphere. Both of them are attached. How are they attached? How are they attached is that if you can see in the center here, there are some fibers that are going from this hemisphere, coming all the way and entering like this. There are some bands of fibers that are going like this and coming like this and attaching the two cerebral hemispheres. So, if you want to look at the real picture out here, you can see this. You see that this is your right cerebral hemisphere, this is your left cerebral hemisphere. Connecting both the cerebral hemispheres, you see this band here, right? This band which is in the form of a a band that is connecting both of them, right? So this is called as corpus callosum. So on the medial surface, you see this structure over here which is in the form of an inverted C like this. So this structure is called as corpus callosum. So the same structure I have drawn here, this is called as your corpus callosum. Now, within this corpus callosum, there are some important structures which you have to know. For example, let us say, let me draw this part over here. Yes, so this structure which you can see here, this red color structure which I am drawing here, this is called as the genu of corpus callosum. What this has to be called as? This has to be called as a genu, G-E-N-U, genu of corpus callosum. Okay. Now, after the genu of corpus callosum, you see this structure which is present, this entire structure all the way till the tail portion, right? So this structure over here, is called as the trunk of corpus callosum. This is called as the trunk of corpus callosum. After that, the next important structure which is located on the complete end here, this green color structure. Okay, so this green color structure over here is called as the splenium of corpus callosum. What is this called? This is called as the splenium of corpus callosum. So far how many structures we have discussed, guys? We have discussed three important structures. The head is called as a genu of corpus callosum. Next you have got the trunk, and after that you have got your splenium. So this is your genu, this is your trunk, and this is your splenium. Now, are there any other structures? Yes. For example, let us say from the genu there is a structure that is hanging down like this. Okay, so this blue color structure which is hanging down is called as a rostrum. Okay, what is this structure over here called as? This is called as a rostrum. This is called as a rostrum. And just beneath the rostrum, you have got a structure like this, right? Again, this is also a band of fibers, right? In this section, this is a sagittal section, right? In this sagittal section, this is how you can see. I can, if I have to show you the lateral side, then you will see, or from the top or from the bottom, then you can see the band of fibers. But here you cannot see the band of fibers that clearly. So on the sagittal section, this is how you see. So this structure which is located over here, and this ball-like structure which is present on the front or on the back, it is present on the front. So this one is called as anterior commissure. This is called as anterior commissure. This is called as anterior commissure. Okay, and just below this anterior commissure, you have got another important structure. This is, can I call this structure is a terminal part, the last part, right? So this is the last part, and this is the second part, third part, fourth part, and it goes in the clockwise fashion. But can I tell this green color stalk like thing which I have drawn is the last part? So anything which is last, can I call it as terminal part, right? So the name given as lamina terminalis. The name that is given here is lamina terminalis. So what are the structures you have got on the medial side? Now adding upon this, again I will draw this picture, and adding upon this I will show you what are the sulci and gyri you have got. So let us just practice what are the things we have discussed right now. We have discussed something called as corpus callosum. The main part is corpus callosum. Corpus callosum is having some important parts. For example, this is called as a rostrum. Next, below that you have got anterior commissure, below that you have got lamina terminalis, right? And on the back you have got splenium. So I want you to remember these structures, because whenever I might sometimes tell you there are some structures that are located above the splenium. So you have to call these structures as suprasplenial structures. Okay, so whatever it is, I will discuss those in detail in a minute. Okay, now let us put down the same picture over here and let us add some things that are extra onto this. Okay, I hope you understood these structures, right? Right. Second important thing is that let us right now here, exactly here, this was your corpus callosum, right? So this structure which I am drawing right now is your corpus callosum, right? Now in this corpus callosum, what did I tell you? Let us revise all the parts. This red color part, whatever I have drawn over here, this one is called as a genu, I told you. And after this genu, here this structure which I am drawing right now is called as your trunk. This structure is called as your trunk. And the last important part over here is called as, what is this called as? This is called as your splenium, the green one. Okay. Next, hanging down here, this blue color part, whatever I have drawn, is called as a rostrum. And just beneath the rostrum, you have got something called as anterior commissure. And beneath the anterior commissure, you have got a green color structure like this. This is called as terminal, lamina terminalis. Okay. Now, one more important structure I have to mention here is that you see that there is one structure that is running all the way down here, right? You see this structure? This structure is called as a fornix. Okay. This structure what? This structure which is present in between the splenium as well as the genu, this structure is called as the fornix of the brain. Okay. So let me put that structure over here and mention it. So this structure over here is called as your fornix. This structure over here is called as your fornix. Right. Now, if you look at the structures that are present here, the first important thing is on the suprolateral surface. So this is your suprolateral surface. On the suprolateral surface, you remember that previously when I was discussing gyri and sulci, I told you there is one sulci in the center. Any sulci in the center is called as central sulcus, and this sulci in the center goes on to the medial side. You see, it is going on to the medial side also. See, when it is going on to the medial side, this is how this central sulcus comes. So this is your central sulcus. In front of the central sulcus, there is precentral. Behind you, there is postcentral. These things we have discussed in our previous lectures. Now what I am telling you specifically is that you see there is a sulcus that is running all the way down and it is going up in this way. And it is going and attaching to the cortex like this, right? Now this sulcus, whatever you can see, is called as cingulate sulcus. So what is the name of this sulcus, guys? The name of this particular sulcus over here, is called as cingulate sulcus. So this sulcus is called as cingulate sulcus. Next important thing, in continuation with the cingulate sulcus, exactly in the same way, here there is another sulcus that is coming down here. Okay. Now what is the name of this sulcus? Now you tell me what will be the name of this sulcus. Where is this sulcus present? I am telling you that this sulcus is present above the splenium. See, this part is your splenium. This sulcus is present above the splenium or below the splenium? This is present above the splenium. So can I call it a suprasplenial sulcus? right, because it is present above the splenium. So this sulcus is called as suprasplenial sulcus. Suprasplenial sulcus. Suprasplenial sulcus. This sulcus is called suprasplenial sulcus. Next important sulcus is that, and this structure which I have drawn in the center in the first part, this one is called as corpus callosum, right? So just above the corpus callosum, touching to the corpus callosum or surrounding this corpus callosum, you have got another sulcus, right? This sulcus which is touching and moving through the corpus callosum is called as callosal sulcus. What is this sulcus name? The name of this sulcus is given as callosal sulcus. See, this sulcus is given as callosal sulcus. Okay, so this structure over here is called as your callosal sulcus. Next, what are the poles here, guys? Let us start discussing from the topic 1 of neuroanatomy. There I have discussed that this pole over here is called as your frontal pole. This pole over here is called as your temporal pole, and this pole on the back here is called as your occipital pole. If you remember that I have told you, in the occipital pole we have got a structure that is coming down. This structure, this sulcus is called as parieto-occipital sulcus. Now if these names, whatever I am telling you, if they are new to you, it means that you haven't watched the lecture on the gyri and sulci. So please do watch that and then come back here. So this one is called as a parieto-occipital sulcus. And from down here also you have got a sulcus that is going like this. This sulcus is called as calcarine sulcus. Okay. So parieto-occipital sulcus as well as calcarine sulcus. So this sulcus over here is your, see, this one over here is your parieto-occipital sulcus, POS. Parieto-occipital. Why parieto? Because this is parietal lobe, this is occipital lobe. So you call it as parieto-occipital sulcus. And this sulcus over here is called as calcarine sulcus. Calcarine sulcus. Okay. Now, if you look at these sulci much more clearly, this is from the medial surface, right? Now, if you look at these sulci little bit more clearly, you will get a complete picture. See here, this elevated structure is called gyri, this depression is called sulci. Again gyri, again sulci, again gyri, again sulci, again gyri and again sulci, like this, right? Now, what I am telling you, this is your brain substance. See, this entirely is your brain substance. So let me write one very important thing over here, that these are your gyri, right, and this is your sulci, right? These are your sulci. Now, during the developmental process, as the brain is getting developed, what will happen is that if you see gyri and sulci, the gyri which are on the lateral sides, right, these gyri, they develop more faster. What do I mean by that is, see, I hope you understood this picture. Now what has happened to, let us say 1, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 2 and this is 3. Now compare all these structures here. 1, look at 1 how big it has grown, and look at 3 also how big it has grown. So the gyri which are located on the lateral surface, they grow very fast in comparison to the gyri which is located in the center. Now if you look here, these are gyri, right? Then what is this space? Any space between two gyri, you should call it as sulci. Then obviously these are called as sulci. What is this sulci here? This sulci here is called as parieto-occipital sulcus. Parieto-occipital sulcus, and this sulcus is called as calcarine sulcus. Calcarine sulcus. Okay, if that is parieto-occipital and this is calcarine sulcus, then what is this number 2 in the center? This number 2 in the center is called as gyrus. What gyrus is it? Cuneate gyrus. This is called as cuneate gyrus. Now what I am trying to tell you, is that here you can see parieto-occipital sulcus. Here you can see calcarine sulcus. But where is the cuneate gyrus? Can you see a cuneate gyrus here? No. So cuneate gyrus is here. So what is happening here? What is happening here is that parieto-occipital sulcus and calcarine sulcus, are they both attached with each other? In this picture you can see that both of them are attached at this point, but in reality these two are not attached with each other. How? Because these two are separated with the help of number 2. What is this number 2? Cuneate gyrus. So can I also tell you like this, that cuneate gyrus is the one which is separating both the sulci, like parieto-occipital sulcus and calcarine sulcus? Can I also tell you like this, that parieto-occipital sulcus and calcarine sulcus are not attached with each other because they both are separated with the help of cuneate gyrus? Now, can you see cuneate gyrus here? You cannot see. Why you cannot see cuneate gyrus? The reason is that gyre number 1 and gyre number 3, both of them, they have overlap like this, and that is the reason why the cuneate gyrus is buried deep inside. Okay, so gyrus number 1, gyrus number 3, they have overlap. Because of this overlapping, you cannot see the gyrus which is located deep inside. So that is the reason why we tell that cuneate gyrus is always buried inside. Cuneate gyrus is buried inside, right? So this is what I just want you to know. If they ask you why parieto-occipital sulcus and calcarine sulcus are not joined with each other, you have to tell it is because of cuneate gyrus. And where is cuneate gyrus? It is buried deep inside between gyrus number 1 and 3. Okay, so this is what I want you to know. Right, now apart from this, the next important thing is that if you have looked at this parieto-occipital as well as calcarine sulcus, exactly parallel to that there is an other sulcus. Okay, so exactly parallel to those two sulci there is another sulcus. Anything which is parallel, can I call it as collateral? Right, anything which is parallel has to be called as collateral. So this sulcus over here is called as collateral sulcus. This sulcus over here is called as your collateral sulcus. Okay, first we'll discuss about the sulcus and then we will discuss about the gyri and all. Right, next here, exactly here down near the terminal part, you have got a sulcus in this way. Now this sulcus is called as a rhinal sulcus. Okay, what is the name of this sulcus over here? This sulcus is called as rhinal sulcus. This is called as rhinal sulcus. Okay, so what are the different kinds of sulci we discussed right now? One sulcus we discussed here is your what? What is this? This is your cingulate sulcus. Okay, and after that, in continuation, we have got suprasplenial sulcus. Why are you calling it as suprasplenial? Because it is present above the splenium. Next, exactly touching and continuing all along this corpus callosum, we have got callosal sulcus. Okay, so this sulcus over here, and callosal sulcus is pretty important, you have to know it. This sulcus is called as callosal sulcus. After that, we have got rhinal sulcus over here, and next we have got parieto-occipital sulcus, calcarine sulcus. Okay, not to forget. And in continuation with this calcarine sulcus, we have got another sulcus called as collateral sulcus. Okay, so these are the sulci that are present on the medial surface, not on the lateral surface. These sulci are present on the medial surface, not on the lateral surface. Okay, now let us concentrate on what are the different kinds of gyri we have got here. Now, the first important thing, all of you know that this black color one, small stick like thing, this black color one is called as a central sulcus. Now, surrounding this central sulcus, there is a gyrus. Okay, surrounding this central sulcus, you see a gyrus in the form of a U shape. So, this U shaped central gyrus is also given a specific name. Now, you will tell me the name. So, this gyrus is present surrounding, anything surrounding in medical terminology you call it as para. Surrounding to what? Surrounding to central sulcus. So can I call it as paracentral gyrus? Right? So this gyrus that is surrounding the central sulcus is called as paracentral gyrus. So this is called as paracentral gyrus. Right. Next important thing is that, for example, if I highlight this area with the yellow sketch, right? So this area, this is also a gyrus, and where is this gyrus present? This gyrus is exactly present on top of the suprasplenial sulcus. Now, anything on the top of the suprasplenial sulcus, this gyrus, whatever you have got here, This gyrus is called as precuneus gyrus. What is this? Precuneus. Now why it is called as precuneus, I will tell you in a minute. Okay, why it is called as precuneus, I will tell you in a minute. Now here if you see, can you figure out one very important gyrus over here, which is in the form of a triangle? You see a triangular shaped gyrus, can I call it as? And this triangular shaped gyrus is present between two important structures. What are they? One is called as a parieto-occipital sulcus, another one is called as a calcarine sulcus. In between that two, on the occipital region, you have got a triangular shaped gyrus, and this triangular shaped gyrus is called as cuneus. What is this called as? Cuneus. Okay, you see this is called as cuneus. Now exactly in front of the cuneus you have got some gyrus. Can I call that as precuneus? Because it is present in front, right? So that is the reason why this name here is given as precuneus. This is given as precuneus gyrus. Okay, this is given as precuneus gyrus. Next important thing is that if you see here between this calcarine sulcus, okay, so let me draw it, between the calcarine sulcus and the collateral sulcus, this gyrus whatever you have here, you see this gyrus is in the form of a tongue. Yes or no? Tongue is also longitudinally depressed from above downwards, it is depressed, and longitudinally it is enlarged anterior-posteriorly, right? So here also you see something like a tongue. So this gyrus which is in the form of a tongue is called as lingual gyrus. What is this gyrus called as? This gyrus is called as lingual gyrus. This gyrus over here is called as lingual gyrus, right? Second important thing is that if you very closely observe here guys, if you very closely observe, just beneath the splenium, this green color thing is called as splenium. Just beneath the splenium, you have got a small gyrus over here. Okay, just beneath the splenium, this small gyrus which you have here is called as isthmus. Okay, what is this structure over here is named as? This structure is called as isthmus. Okay, just in front of the isthmus, you have got another important gyrus like this. You see, just in front of the isthmus, I have got another important gyrus. Now this gyrus is called as parahippocampal gyrus. And all these gyruses, where are they present? They are present beneath the fornix. Yes or no? So this structure over here is called as parahippocampal gyrus. What is this gyrus name? This is named as parahippocampal gyrus. So let me write this over here. This is called as parahippocampal gyrus. So this gyrus over here is called as parahippocampal gyrus. Next, you can see a rhinal sulcus. Now within that loop of rhinal sulcus, there is a gyrus in this way in the form of a hook. You see, there is a gyrus which is in the form of a hook. And where is this gyrus present? This gyrus is present in the loop of this rhinal sulcus. Okay, so this hook-like structure over here is what is called as uncus. This hook-like structure over what is called as uncus. What is the name of this gyrus? This name of this gyrus is uncus. What is the shape of this uncus? Uncus is in the form of hook shape. And where is this uncus present? Hook shaped. Where is this uncus present? It is lying within your rhinal sulcus. Okay, it is lying within your rhinal sulcus. So far guys, what are the different kinds of gyri we discussed? One, surrounding the central sulcus, we have got a gyrus called as paracentral gyrus. Next, here we have got something called as precuneus gyrus. Why? Because it is in front of the cuneus. And just beneath the cuneus, we have got a gyrus which is a form of a tongue shape called as lingual gyrus. After that, we have got this small blue box like thing. This is called over here as isthmus. In front of the isthmus, we have got this called as parahippocampal gyrus. And within the loop of the rhinal sulcus, we have got another gyrus called as, which is hook shaped, that is called as your uncus. Okay. Next important thing. By the way, tell me, this is a medial surface or this is superolateral surface? This entire picture which you can see in front of me, right? So this picture over here is a medial or a superolateral. This is a medial. And next, if this is a medial, then this pole over here is your frontal pole. Yes or no? So it means that this entire sulcus, this entire gyrus, whatever is present over here, you see this entire gyrus, whatever is present over here, first thing I have to name it as frontal gyrus. Why? Because it is located in the frontal side. And frontal side of which one? Lateral or medial side? On the medial side. So that is the reason why the name of this is medial. Why? Because it is, we are discussing the medial side structures. And frontal, why? Because it is on the frontal side and it is a gyrus. So this is medial frontal gyrus. Medial frontal gyrus. Okay, this is your medial frontal gyrus. Now, if you very closely observe, okay, if you very closely observe, here you can also figure out one more gyrus. Okay, now exactly look at whatever I'm telling you. You see this line here. What is this line? This is called a cingulate sulcus, right? Next, after cingulate sulcus, another line I have got. This is called as suprasplenial sulcus. Next, beneath cingulate and suprasplenial, I have got another blue color line. This is called as callosal sulcus. So, callosal sulcus is on the down part, right? Down you have got callosal sulcus. Here I have got what? Here I have got suprasplenial sulcus, and here I have got cingulate sulcus. So, in between both of my hands, you see a space, right? So, this entire space, whatever you can see here, you see? This entire space, whatever you can see here, this entire space, this entire green color thing, whatever you can see here, is given a specific name for this gyrus, and this gyrus is called as cingulate gyrus. Why cingulate? Because majority of the sulcus here is cingulate sulcus, so the name of the gyrus is also cingulate gyrus. So this gyrus over here, you call it as cingulate gyrus. Okay, so what is this gyrus over here? This is called as your cingulate gyrus, and by the way, this is called as your fornix. This structure over here is called as your fornix, right? So once again, just let us recap very fastly what are the structures that are located on the medial surface of the cerebral hemispheres. On the medial surface, first I have drawn the corpus callosum. Corpus callosum is having a red color part, a green color part. This red color part, you call it as, what do you call this red color part as? Genu. What is that green color part called as? Splenium. In between both of them, you have got something called as fornix. Okay. Now, just beneath the red color part, I have got a blue color structure called as rostrum. After that, I have got anterior commissure and then lamina terminalis. Okay. Now, here, surrounding the corpus callosum, the sulcus which I have is, this is called as callosal sulcus. Okay. Next, surrounding this callosal sulcus, I have got two more sulci. One sulcus is called as the cingulate sulcus. Another one is called as a suprasplenial sulcus. Why are you calling it a suprasplenial? Because it is present above the splenium. Next, we have got this structure over here called as the cingulate central sulcus. You see this structure over here, this one is called as the central sulcus. Okay. Surrounding the central sulcus, this particular gyrus whatever I have is paracentral. Para means surrounding the central. Just before that, I have got another thing that is called as medial frontal gyrus. Okay, and this entire green color one is your cingulate gyrus. So the tricky part is this one. We have got this small structure called as isthmus. Just in front of the isthmus and below the fornix, you have got this structure called as parahippocampal gyrus. And within the loop of the rhinal sulcus, you have got another gyrus over here. This is called as uncus. Okay, so this is your uncus, which is a hook-shaped gyrus. Okay. Next, on the back, you have got POS, which is called as parieto-occipital sulcus. Next, you have got Calcarine sulcus. In between both of them, you have got a gyrus called as Cuneus. Okay. Next, down here, you have got lingual gyrus. Okay, so these are the structures that are located, the gyri and sulci that are located on the medial side of the cerebral hemispheres. So these are the structures that are located on the medial side of the cerebral hemispheres. Medial side or medial surface of cerebral hemispheres. Okay, so this is all you need to know regarding the topic, guys. So thank you so much for watching my video. Goodbye.